Welcome everyone. My name is Sean, and today I want to talk about this area in and around the Oakland airport, which is having a bunch of businesses close one after the other. And the reason why these businesses are closing is because people don't want to go there, because if you pull up your car in this particular area, there is a better than not chance that your car will be broken into, your stuff will be stolen. And the creative solution that they've come up for this particular problem is not to arrest and prosecute the criminals that are doing this. It's to have somebody with a whistle declare to every single car individually that your stuff will be stolen, so that hopefully at some point you will take your bags out, so that way when your window is smashed, you'll only have to pay for the repair of that window. It's absolutely tragic, it's horrible, but it's another ridiculous thing that we have to deal with in current year in the United States of America, so that's why we gotta discuss it. But before we do, this video is sponsored. Let me toss it to the sponsor, then we'll come back over here and we'll discuss it on the other side. It will be cool. You'll like it. Trust me. If you're like me, then you know firsthand that poor sleep can affect your performance throughout the course of the day. In fact, studies show that getting less than 6 hours of sleep a night can lead to mood swings, weight gain, and even low white blood cell counts. So your immune system is actually effective. And this is something that I struggle with up until I got Beam Dream Hot Cocoa. This stuff is absolutely amazing. It's all natural, sugar-free. I put it in a glass in the evening, works with hot water or with warm milk. I prefer the milk recipe, and I'm off to sleep. And one of the things that I find with Beam Dream, along with 93% of other people, according to a study, is that I get longer lasting sleep. I wake up less during the evening, and when I wake up, I don't feel like I've taken something weird and I'm all groggy in the way that you tend to do. And one of the great things about Beam Dream is that you can get it with their biggest sale of the year, which is going on right now. If you go to shopbeam.com/justicewarrior, where you will be able to receive 50% off your purchase or subscription. Now, they have amazing flavors like cinnamon cocoa, salted caramel, and this one in particular is chocolate peanut butter. I'm very excited to try it. And again, it's 50% off. It actually works. I use it. I love it. It tastes great. That's shopbeam.com/justicewarrior. Fix your sleep right now in this moment. Shopbeam.com/justicewarrior.
Car break-ins and robberies, they become too much for some businesses near the Oakland airport. We've even learned 2 Starbucks and a Subway restaurant shut down last Friday, reportedly because of crime. Their locations at Hagenberger and Edgewater and the plaza at 98th Avenue have become hotspots.
So I want to make something clear right off the top, because these talking points are often used as a deflection away from the real impacts of crime on businesses and areas, and that is by addressing the named stores in this local news segment that are suffering closings.
We've even learned 2 Starbucks and a Subway restaurant shut down last Friday, reportedly because of crime.
Now, we've seen Starbucks close across this country for a variety of reasons. Fast food joints have been hit particularly hard by California's inflation adjusting minimum wage. So that, of course, is a factor in what we're talking about. And Subway in particular is not doing all that well, because Subway as a business model expanded their franchises. They have too many locations close together, and thus there have been closings of Subways that have occurred across this nation that are unrelated to crime. But the thing is, when you have criminality driving down business in particular areas, because people don't want to stop there, businesses that are already vulnerable, that have those other factors, end up closing faster. And the fact that all 3 of these closed on the very same Friday because crime has gotten so out of hand is a bit suspicious. It's a bit notable. And remember, there are other businesses in these complexes that are already closed due to criminality. So even though they're showing us what happened on Friday, and there's other factors that play into the closures, because there always is other factors that play into closures, we have to remember that they're all closing at the same time, and all the other businesses around them have closed or on the verge of closing as well.
These are the latest stores to shut down due to crime in Oakland. Neighbors say the thieves are not just hurting the stores, they're also hurting the community.
So as you can see, what I told you happens to be true. The mall is completely covered in these signs that say, don't leave your valuables, get your bags out of your cars, your car will be broken into, because that is the state of Oakland under District Attorney Pamela Price, who refuses to prosecute anyone for anything.
The small plaza on 98th Ave near Oakland Airport is already covered with warning signs, but the problem continued. So security guard David Olakino is now alerting customers with a whistle.
Number 5, carry your bag. It's smash and grab. Number 2, you gotta carry your bag. It's smash and grab. They park behind you, sometimes beside you.
So first of all, I gotta say, I love this security guard's energy. He is tired of watching people be victimized. He's actually powerless in the state of California, which we will talk about a little bit later, but he's coming up with rhymes. He's trying to alert people, trying to call attention to what's going on, because the break-ins to people's cars are so brazen that they don't even require you to leave your bag in your car when you leave the car for them to occur, as we're going to see via the surveillance video of all these incidents just in this mall plaza.
David came up with the idea out of frustration because thieves were stealing bags even with drivers inside their cars.
So as you can see through this surveillance video, you have the criminals parking behind the vehicles, blocking them in. Now, if I were in my car and a thief decided to run out in this way, I would plow right through their vehicle because forget about these thieves. I'm not interested in them. Yet they're robbing people in broad daylight while they're in their car of their property because this is such a hot spot for crime. Again, think about how running a business in this particular area becomes exceedingly difficult when it's so dangerous that you don't even have to leave your bag unattended in your vehicle for you to be robbed by these perpetrators. And it's right by the airport, so these businesses rely on people who are just getting off their flights to come in when they realize that this is a danger zone, this is a bad area to be in. They'll stop coming, and all of these businesses end up closing. On top of that, think about the customers, how traumatic it is to have somebody rob you repeatedly in these particular areas. Obviously, it's not only going to make you more hesitant to go to this particular area, but it's going to make you more cautious, more aware, more scared anytime you go to one of these strip malls, which has a downstream effect on all of these other various businesses. This is the impact of crime on economic development. This is how crime drives poverty. You're looking at it with your very eyes, and the fact of the matter is, even though the security guard has a rather nice uniform for security guard, and he does have a whistle, and he has the rhymes in order to tell people to watch out for the criminals, he's actually completely powerless, as I said earlier, and let's let him explain it so you guys can hear it for yourself.
The criminals, I cannot touch them.
How come?
Because of our law. They're gonna sue me. I get sued already one time.
Yeah, that's right. You have a security guard right here who's watching and observing these crimes, and he not only assumes the risk working in the state of California, working in Alameda County, that if he tries to stop a criminal actively committing a crime, that he would be arrested and charged by District Attorney Pamela Price, who would suddenly remember how to prosecute somebody when they try to prevent a crime, who never can prosecute anyone who's actually committing the crime, but you also are civilly liable from a lawsuit from the criminal who is in the act of committing a crime, and it's already happened to this individual before where he's been sued. On top of that, you also probably will get fired if you create a liability issue for your employer.
Across from the gas station David works at, Starbucks and Subway shut down last Friday. Workers at the Subway store tell me the owner is fed up with the repeated break-ins in the parking lot and inside the store. Not too far away, over at the Starbucks near Hagenberger Road, the building owner tells me the closure is also due to repeated car break-ins. In the same shopping plaza, Raising Cane's closed its dining room earlier this year. It's drive-through only to prevent break-ins.
Now, like I said, it is not just Subway, which is struggling overall nationwide. It's not just Starbucks, which some stores have been closing in other areas not related to theft. It's all these other stores that have to completely change their business model in order to compensate for the fact that criminals are running wild, and nobody can really stop these criminals without fearing consequences, whether they be legal or civil consequences. So you have this other place that used to have a dining room, people used to come in, but they are too afraid of break-ins and robberies, so they switched to completely drive-through only because they have no faith in the system to back them up in order to deal with the crime. On top of that, they're tired scared of their customers who park there to eat at the dinner area being robbed, complaining to the store, and creating all kinds of issues for the business in that way. On top of that, it just probably wasn't that profitable to run in this complex a dine-in type of restaurant when all the customers are being scared off by the fact that everything is going to be stolen and by the fact that the security guards are completely disempowered, unable to assist you because of the way the laws work in the state of California.
I feel horrible about them shutting down and running for the hills, just like the Oakland A's.
You know, on this channel, I am called all sorts of names because I am unafraid to talk about the issue of black crime. I'm unafraid to acknowledge the reality that the per capita crime rates are significantly higher in black communities in this country and in specific areas like the city of Oakland. However, I reject the notion that acknowledging this reality is racist. To me, the most racist thing you can do is ignore the fact that the victims of this black crime happen to be black people. This woman right here, elderly woman, not doing anything wrong, just wants to be able to shop like a normal individual, and she sees all the stores closing around her. She is sick of the criminality, yet the progressive left will ignore her plight, ignore her area being driven into poverty in order to protect the people that are actually doing it. This is the misguided notion that all criminals are Aladdin, they are thieves with heart of gold, even though, again, disproportionately, the victims of this criminality, the people suffering the most from it, are black people who live in these very same neighborhoods, who don't want to be involved with criminality, who want to have a normal life, and they're unable to do so because of the black criminal. They're unable to do so because of the politician that caters to the black criminal.
We saw police officers stationed at both parking lots on Friday afternoon, but workers say that's only for a few days a week. They tell me break-ins and robberies are still bad when the officers are gone.
Now, as you can see for yourself, the police do show up from time to time in order to disrupt the car break-ins and burglaries that are going on here, but it's not nearly enough for a number of reasons. First and foremost, you can't just perpetually station officers in this one mall parking lot when crime and car break-ins are happening all over Oakland. And secondly, like many left-wing areas, they decided it would be a good idea in response to the George Floyd incident to cut police funding. Defund the police was totally in vogue in Oakland. By the way, we actually did a whole deep dive on how this ruined the city of Oakland quite recently on this channel, and it actually predates Pamela Price, their crime increase, their increase in murders, despite the fact that they were actually driving crime down in the couple of years before the Black Lives Matter riots, and the officers ended up going into orderly retirement. And then what happened? They tried to restore some of the funding, but the officers didn't come back. They didn't rematerialize out of thin air because that's not how that works. So they're short-staffed, the crime is going up, so there's more crime in order to deal with, and they can't just stay in this particular parking lot when it's almost every parking lot that has to deal with this. Remember, Pamela Price herself was the victim of a car break-in in some form of karmatic justice, and that is what the people of Oakland have to deal with due to the idiotic moves of their politicians. And by the way, don't think I'm unaware of the fact that they did vote these politicians into power, but remember, a bunch of these people were in favor of increasing police funding, increasing the officers on the street, that reduced crime, and then they changed their minds after the Black Lives Matter riots.
Oakland police report about 12,000 car break-ins so far this year. It's up 32% compared to last year.
They're up 32% in comparison to last year. Almost 12,000 car break-ins in the city of Oakland. It's absolutely tragic. It's ridiculous. And as you can see, as I've made clear to all of you, this is driving people into poverty. Imagine being somebody on the bubble. Imagine being somebody who's struggling. Somebody breaks into your vehicle. They smash your window. That's hundreds of dollars of repairs that you have to deal with in terms of just the window. They take property from you. That could be worth hundreds to thousands of dollars. You have to pay for that out of pocket, or try to get your insurance to cover it. If your insurance covers it, your premiums go up through the roof. And every day, you are finding it more and more difficult to live in a very expensive city in the state of California. And then the businesses in that particular area have to do with reduced traffic, people not wanting to go there. They have to alter their business model in order to deal with the criminality, spend money on security in the hopes that that will deter criminals, while at the same time assuming a liability risk because the criminals have more rights than the security guards meant to protect the law-abiding citizens.
It does hurt the community, and it makes the people that's not mobile, they can't get to things easily. They would have to travel to go get to the things that are open.
Now look, this woman is wearing a COVID mask in current year in 2023, so obviously we're looking at somebody who is probably a left-wing progressive, probably a crazy person, probably somebody who voted for Pamela Price, who voted for defunding the police, but even she is realizing that this is creating problems in her community. She's talking about how people have to travel further and further in order to get the goods that they need because the stores in and around these areas are closing at ever more increasing rates. Right now, she is describing how the left's food desert phenomenon is created not by redlining, not by evil white racism that's under every rock, but it's actually created by the very criminality that she likely voted to protect and codify in the laws in Oakland and Alameda County as a whole. Hopefully she course corrects. Hopefully she votes for the recall of Pamela Price. However, there's a lot of damage done in Oakland, and just getting rid of one person, while symbolically a good move, isn't actually going to change anything for the better in any significant way. I do think it will have an impact, but that will be minuscule unless you get the officers back on the streets, and unless you change the laws not only in the city of Oakland, but in the state of California that prevents these people from being sent to prison. Remember, California classifies very few crimes as violent felonies, and in fact, certain violent felonies aren't even called violent felonies, and the reason that matters is that they passed a law that says that unless you commit this category of crime, serious violent felonies, you can't be sent to prison. You have to be sent to county jail, but the county jails are being overfilled, so you have people being convicted of felony after felony being released with just days of time served, if even that, just because their county jail has no room.
Oakland police say in addition to deploying officers here, they're collaborating with the Port of Oakland and the airport to have more security officers in the area. They say auto burglaries are slowing down.
So they're saying that auto burglaries are slowing down, which is very sketchy verbiage right there. Something that you always gotta listen to whenever these people talk about criminality, because of course they're slowing down. Typically, crimes end up going down at least a little bit as we get into the colder months. Oakland is in Northern California, so even though it's up 32%, it's actually accelerating the rate of auto break-ins in the city of Oakland. Yeah, at this moment in time, in November of 2023, it's slowing down compared to the peak, which I'm assuming happened in and around the summer. Isn't that great? Isn't that fantastic? That now it's slowing down, wink wink, even though it's up 32% year over year from 2022. And as we talked about in the Bay Area, San Francisco, and Oakland, car burglaries are significantly on the rise in this area. So whether they started slowing down 8 minutes ago or not should be irrelevant, yet the news presents it as if it is a positive indicator.
Carry your bag. It's smash and grab.
As for David, he'll keep blowing his whistle. Both women and men are holding on to their bags.
They were happy about it, and they always say thank you. Thank you for reminding them.
Look, I like this guy's energy. I like his spirit. He diagnoses the problem quite well, and he's trying to help within the parameters that he can. But the fact of the matter is, he's just too limited in the state of California in that he's going to be held responsible in a way that a criminal just never will be in the city of Oakland. It's sad, it's tragic, and this is the destruction of an urban community, the hollowing out of a metropolitan area before our very eyes. We know exactly how this is being done, exactly how to reverse it, but there is not the political will, at least from the political class, in order to do so.
Business owners say because these two shopping plazas are considered hotspots, they want officers to station here 24/7, not just on certain days or hours.
Now look, I understand the plight of the business owners. I understand what they want, and I understand why they want it. If I was doing business in a particular area, where even if I hired a security guard, he was essentially powerless, I would want 24-hour police protection as well. But the fact of the matter is, resources are quite thin, and even though this is a hotspot, there are plenty of hotspots all around the Oakland area that are just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, for people who suffer from car break-ins, that you can't really protect all of them. What you need is the ability to keep these repeat offenders off the streets. That has been taken away in 3 different ways in the state of California and in the city of Oakland. You have DA Pamela Price, you have that California law that I referenced earlier, and you have a mayor who is objectively weak on those issues. Plus, on top of that, you have a short-staffed police force. It's absolutely disastrous. We're seeing the consequences of it. And honestly, I don't expect it to get better anytime soon, especially when the news is saying, well, it's slowing down because it's winter. Isn't that a good thing? Don't worry about it absolutely at all. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you like this video, show them by leaving a like. Subscribe for more content. Follow me on my social media. Support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about how an area was completely ravaged by car thieves. Till next time.